Recording now.
Okay.
Okay, oh wait.
Stop.
Yeah, it's recording. Yeah, just.
Press conference. I'm sorry, but is it about radio? The setting is about radio or a face-to-face press con?
It's a face-to-face press conference.
Oh, face-to-face.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys can feel free to be.
To question you.
Yeah, exactly. It's welcome to be somewhat hostile. I will explain the premise of my company and why I'm holding this press conference. I'm the spokesperson for the Yummy fast food restaurant here in Hong Kong. And recently we've received a lot of bad press, as have many other businesses in Hong Kong, because we are forced to lay off a large number of our employees. And I'm here to explain it and to take your questions. As many of you know, recently there has been a forced increase in the price of our operation. And that increase has come in the form of so-called minimum wage. At this time, the Yummy Food Company, which is a fast food shop with over 3,000 front-line employees and about 500 supporting staff, we have about 100 locations, which are restaurants, in Hong Kong. I want to explain our position because we've had to make a very difficult decision in the past few months, which is to lay off approximately 1/3 of our staff. The reason is because of the minimum wage, which has caused the price of our employees to go, in some cases, to rise as high as 100% above what they're currently being paid. I will explain first who these employees are. They're front of house employees. They're the people who you meet and engage with when you come to our restaurants. And they're the people who take your money and give you your food. In addition to those people, there are the people behind the scenes who clean up our restaurants and keep them clean behind the scenes, so that when you come to our restaurants, you have a fantastic experience. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you're a big corporation, you should be able to pay them a larger sum of money. And after all, $28 an hour is not really a lot of money, especially when you have a company of your size. And I want to say that the premise behind that statement is unfortunately very, very faulty. If any of you have ever operated a business, especially a restaurant, you will know, and if you don't know, I'm going to tell you that our profit margin is extremely low. It is about 1 to 2% in any given year of our total operating costs. And what that means is that in order to make a profit, we've had to expand the number of stores and locations that we have now. And unfortunately, we'll have to cut that back. Now, our number one expense is employees. It is by far the thing we spend the most money on. After that expense comes rent for our locations, which is quite far away in terms of cost. And that is, of course, followed by food and the other things that we use to operate our business. We love our employees very much, and we treat them all with as much respect as possible, and we give them as much as we can to make the working environment very good. And we do not believe that at this time we can continue to offer that kind of comfort and stability to them and keep the same number of employees at the same time. So we've made the decision that we will have to, number one, reduce the number of locations that we offer, and number two, eliminate a large number of those staff, which is very unfortunate. We feel for their families. We are offering them some severance as much as we can. Another issue I'd like to address is that people have said that the minimum wage is a fair or quote-unquote living wage. I would like to say that from our point of view, the wages that we pay, if they were not living wages, they would not be working for us. Our employees work very, very hard, and they come to work every day and they show up. And they don't just do nothing when they're there. They get paid for the work that they do. and we can employ a lot of people because we have a wide spectrum of salary to offer. I would also like to say that on the part of the government, it is a bad move because while it seems like it's a good idea, it is actually a form of price control. And let me explain that to you. You see, the people who come to our restaurants, we are not a high-end restaurant. We are a fast food restaurant. And we compete with other fast food restaurants, and this will tell you what kind of place we are. We're like Tagalog, or Fairwood, or McDonald's, and that's our customers, and that's our clientele. And I can tell you something, that as a corporation and a company, we don't pay for anything. You pay for everything. Our customers pay for everything we have, so it is our obligation to give you the best value for your dollar that we can. So when this cost goes into effect for us, it means that we have to pass it on to you, because we don't print money. We are not like the government. We cannot print money. So we have to pass the cost on to you. So I can tell you that not only are we unfortunately having to lay off a large number of people, but our costs, as well as our competitors' costs, are going to go up. And I can tell you that our companies serve the people who work for us. So not only are the people that are going to be laid off by us and other companies going to be affected, they're also going to have to face higher expenses when they go out to eat in a fast food restaurant, or they may have to choose not to do so. So unfortunately, it has a double-edged negative effect on the people that this program intends to help. So I'd like to express once again my sincere regret to the people we've hired over the past number of years. We've been in business for over 30 years, and we have a large number of locations. And I'd also like to say that there is a large kind of feeling of hostility towards big corporations and these big fancy, or I don't know how to say it, these big chain restaurants that seem to take over. But I can tell you something, our place is small. But I can tell you one thing, the people who are going to take over my locations when I give them up are going to be those big, large corporate entities that seem kind of invisible and kind of cool and cool. They're going to be the ones that take over. It's not going to be small shops like mine that keep our margins very low so that we can have a little bit of variety here in Hong Kong. So I have to express on behalf of my company, the Yummy Fast Food Shop, my regrets to those 1,000 employees that we're going to lay off and their families, and I'll turn the floor over to questions from the audience.
You said you would give as many as possible to laid off employees.
Yes.
So what would your company actually give to them?
We will give them severance, which will be 1.5 months of their current salary.
And may I ask one question?
Of course.
Besides laying off your staff, have you ever thought about other measures to contain your costs?
Yes, as I mentioned before, our operating costs leave us with an extremely low profit margin of around 1 to 2%. And I can tell you that we have a whole office of 10 to 12 people whose whole job is to keep our costs minimal. And we stretch them as hard as, or as far as we can in order to keep our costs low. We have negotiated with our suppliers and our vendors as much as we can to squeeze out every penny from them. In fact, they've done a great job because we've had to lay off less people than we expected. We originally projected to lay off at least half of our staff. So by reducing that number to 1/3, by reducing costs even further. But I want to mention one thing, and it's cautionary, is that while we've been able to cut costs, we've also cut some normal services a little bit.
How about cutting your management's bonuses?
Our management bonuses are given to them because of their performance in doing such things as cutting costs. And without their effort, you see, the difference between someone in management and someone in the front line, and they're both valuable workers. It's a question of how much input they've put in the front end. someone in management has already paid the price in terms of going to school and learning how to cut our costs in order to keep our restaurant afloat. And the person at the front line has simply not made that investment in education. But that person on our management staff is able to provide them with a job. This increased cost did not come because of normal environment situations. It came because of the government. We are responsible to our customers, which is why we hire that highly bonused and highly paid management person. The government is responsible to no one because they simply don't have customers. Billy.
Have you considered not cutting your staff, but instead cut the size of the food faster every day? You see McDonald's, the hamburger, with the same price. A year ago it's much bigger than right now. How come your company could not make this the same as McDonald's? You are so incapable.
Yes, I appreciate your comment. I'd like to say that, as the first reporter asked, how we have cut costs. We have cut costs we have also reduced our portion sizes and the things that we handed out. I want to give you an example. In our restaurant, we sell French fries. And normally it's our procedure to give out one ketchup package with each order of French fries. Now we've cut that process. Now you have to ask for that ketchup package. And I can't tell you how much money, what a difference in the amount of money that we've saved by not giving it out because it's not used. So we've gone that far. You have to realize we have to answer to our customers. And if our product gets any smaller, they're just not going to come. So we have to strike a balance in order to keep customers coming. Otherwise, the alternative really is for us going out of business.
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
As I know, 5% of your staff are the disabled. Do you think that they are the top priority to be laid out? And have you considered that if you lay out this kind of disabled people, it's hard for them to find a job? As a social enterprise, caring company, do you think you have the responsibility to take care of them?
We take every employee that we hire seriously and responsibly. We feel that every single one we hire is important. We don't look at our company and see, oh, well, here's the females, here's the males, here's the children, here's the middle-aged. We see them all as people who are engaged in our company and helping us to serve you. So we don't look at them as groups. We look at anything that affects us this seriously as being important. And so I just want to reiterate, this is not an environmental cost. This is imposed on us in our feeling arbitrarily. Is no particularly good reason for it except that it makes somebody feel good. But unfortunately it hurts us, right? If we hire somebody who's disabled and we can give them a job, we're happy to do so. But if we're unable to do that because the cost is so high, then it doesn't matter whether you're disabled or not. We can't help you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Thank you. Okay, 1 minute of silence.